One of the weird things about doing this in my driveway to get some privacy is that I don't have privacy. I just had the FedEx person drive by. So bear with me on this. That might make things a little bit more complicated. Anyways, I hope that you guys are doing okay in this crazy time that we're living in right now with the quarantine and lock-ins and shelter in places and all that stuff. I hope that you're stable. I hope that you're employed. I know a lot of people have lost their jobs on this. So if you're able to, keep your job, then I guess at least that's some stability in a crazy unstable world. But this leads me into the topic I wanted to hit today, and this is about boundaries and respecting yourself. And I had a couple of conversations with some people over the last few days where this has been a struggle that they've had. And this is something that I've seen quite often. I used to struggle with this way back in the earlier parts of this, where you can have some separation from your situation. And as a result, you start to feel better. You start to feel more empowered. You start to feel like, hey, I got this. I'm not going to let them walk over me. I'm going to respect myself. And then you engage with in a situation. I'll just say with a situation or in a situation where you kind of default to your old patterns. And it's really important to remember what you've learned, what you've accomplished over this period of time that you've been going through this, and not to lose sight of it. Now, part of the problem is a lot of us are people pleasers. A lot of us want to see the best in someone or give them the benefit of the doubt. But you have to remember, when someone shows you who they are, when they demonstrate the reality of who they are, believe it. And look at the pattern of behavior that you've seen in the past where they do this metamorphosis, where they act like a normal human being just long enough for you to coax you in to then go back to the exact same person. It's really tough, and it's one of those things where you don't even want to believe what you really know. I was talking with the person I was talking with the other day. Because of the quarantine and everything, they have possession of their child. And the other parent was like, hey, I want to do a social distancing thing. In the back of their mind, they're thinking, I don't know about this. I'm kind of worried what might happen, but agreed. And come to find out, and actually, the person even had said that they were worried that the ex would try to basically run with the kid, with their child. And that's exactly what happened in that situation. Now, in that particular scenario, that really is an example of a double bind, because if you say no, then you're the scumbag who you just won't ever let things go or whatever. And then if you do, then you're putting yourself and your child at risk, at least their emotional needs. And in this situation, it was pretty brutal. I mean, it was bad. Now, conversely, I had a similar experience without the trying to steal the kids, where my youngest wanted to, said, I want to see my mom. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, well, can we do the driveway thing? Because I do that with Debbie now. She'll come over and I'll sit right here. She'll stay in her car over there, and we'll talk. And so for one, it's like there's no reason for me to say no. Now, one, I'm not worried about the ex, doing what that happened in that other scenario. But again, it was one of those. Not that it was a double bind, because I didn't really care that they came over. I was planning on giving them the distance, and what ended up weird happening is my other daughter's with her mom, and she came over, and it's like, oh, she wants to see you. And I'm like, so I actually sat out in the driveway, all five of us, social distancing, and it went okay. Now, that doesn't mean that, going back to the situation, that doesn't mean that I trust the ex. That doesn't mean that I think that that something miraculous has happened and things have changed. No. Like I said in the beginning, you remember who they are, you understand, try to understand their motivations, which is tough sometimes because sometimes you don't know exactly what they're trying to do. But here's the key point on this. I made a video the other day, and some people were saying, oh, she's doing this, letting the kids stay over here for different reasons. In my opinion, the main reason is because the kids put their foot down and said they felt safer here. And she backed off, which is great. I don't think it's anything else, but people were saying, oh, she wants more time to do her own thing, or she wants, it's because of money, it's because of all these different things. Guys, here's the reality of this. It doesn't matter. We spend so much time thinking about what the ex is thinking, plotting, doing, their motivation, and it doesn't matter. Keep them at arm's length. Keep things pleasant if you have to. That's fine. Don't put yourself at risk. Like in that other situation, the other person, what I was talking about, they were in a tough situation because they almost had to say yes. So keep sight of reality, but you don't spend a ton of time focusing on what they're trying to do because it really doesn't matter. Keep your stuff as stable as possible. I'm at the point now that let's say hypothetically that situation happened and the ex had told my youngest, hey, you know what, you've been over here too long. It's not that safe, whatever. You need to get in the car. And if my youngest got in the car and left, I'm not going to fight about it. I'm not going to really stress about it. My goal right now is to try to make things as calm, as stable for my kids, the ones that I have possession of, which is just the two, the oldest one and the youngest one, for the duration of this. Whatever I can try to do to make them more comfortable, make them feel more secure, more safe. That's the point. Now, getting back to the boundary thing is you have to watch yourself if you're prone to be basically a people pleaser to make sure that you don't do anything that you don't want to do. A toxic person will, a lot of the times, try to provoke you or back you into a corner to try to make a decision in the moment. And they know, for the most part, if they guilt you and they try to do that, you're going to give in to them. I've had it happen to me. It's been a long time, but I've had it happen. And it's one of those things where when it does happen, you're like, what the hell just happened? How the hell did that happen? That's the way I felt that time it happened. Or the one time I'm thinking about, which was early in this process. It was that first Christmas. Take it slow, right? If someone's backing you into a corner, just say, you need more time to think. Exit out of the conversation. What this particular person did, which I think was okay, is they agreed to something, to have a meeting later or have a conversation later, and then said later, look, I said yes because I wanted to diffuse the situation. Our child was getting really upset. They were crying. I just wanted this situation to stop, so I found the easiest way to do that. We'll talk in a few days when I had some time to really think. Give yourself time. Most of the time in all of our situations, it's not a critical, life or death, instant decision has to be made to make things, to figure things out. So don't get caught up in that. Don't force yourself into doing something prematurely that you're not really ready for, because most of the time you have time. Now, I know it's a lot tougher whenever you're trying to do something to get your kids, and if they're holding the kids as little pawns and trying to make you, okay, dance, monkey, dance, to try to get you to do something so that you can have a little bit of sliver or a little bit of time with your kid, it's really easy to get goaded into that. Just take a deep breath, slow yourself down, and don't compromise yourself for this. Remember your self-worth. Remember that you do have value. Remember that what you want is important. Somebody trying to get you to do something that you don't feel comfortable with, something that you don't want to do, you don't have to do it. Now, just for clarification on these double binds, that's a tough situation because you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. I mean, for instance, I had no reason to say it, but let's say that I was worried about the ex doing something or freaking the kids out or whatever. If I would have said, no, I don't think that's a good idea, there's not a good reason to say that. It would just actually complicate things and make things a lot worse. So, and the one thing I do want to finish up on this is the key is on this, especially with your minor children, is your time, spending time with them. For instance, I think I mentioned, if I didn't get cut off earlier because I had to stop the video in the beginning, I'm doing yard work and stuff, and my daughter's helping out. When we were done yesterday, as we were putting everything away, she basically said, she goes, I really had a really good time doing this, doing this with you. And that was the key, with me. It was something that we were doing together, that we were working collaboratively, and it was a bonding thing. We've done similar stuff with playing cards, doing the tent stuff. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link up there where we put the tent up in the backyard since our spring break trip was canceled. That is so much more important than stuff, right? We've made banana bread together. We've cooked together. We've done the tent stuff. Find something that your kid wants to do with you, and do it. And maybe you could do a collaborative thing to where they come up with something that they want to do, and then you're like, hey, let's do this now. But just spend the time with them if you can. If you can't, try to do the FaceTime stuff, and then maybe you can do that. Find something that you could do with them virtually. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure what. Be creative. Be creative on it. Anyways, I hope you're doing okay. I know this is some really weird times. Make sure that you give yourself the time to think about what you're doing and not getting backed into a corner. And when you get stuck in those double binds, because they always happen, just take a deep breath and think about what's the best decision that you can make that works for you and your kids, and don't give a crap at the benefit of how it benefits your ex. It's irrelevant. Focus on you, focus on your kids. If your ex gets a win out of it, it doesn't matter. It's, did you get a win? Did you make the most of it? That's the main thing. On that, hopefully you're doing all right, and I will catch you on another outside garage video. All right, take care. Talk to you later. Bye.